Welcome to another episode of Explained by AI.
Today we're going deep into baby sleep.
Really the ultimate guide from newborn all the way to their first birthday.
Yeah, like navigating those sleepless nights.
Absolutely.
So we'll start with how their needs change
Okay.
over the first year
Mm.
and some surprising facts too.
Ooh, I like surprises.
That might just change your perspective
Okay.
on those early days.
Okay, so first, why is sleep so important?
Yeah, it's absolutely crucial for their development.
I've heard it's like food for the brain.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Really?
It's not just rest.
Okay.
It lays the foundation for brain development,
Mm-hmm.
physical growth,
Okay.
and even emotional well-being.
Wow, the whole package.
So during sleep, their brains are processing everything from the day,
Okay.
creating connections and consolidating memories.
So they're learning even while they're sleeping.
Exactly. It's like their brains are working overtime
Wow.
to make sense of the world.
That's incredible. And their bodies are growing too, right?
Absolutely. Their bodies release growth hormones while they sleep.
Yeah.
So that helps them grow bigger and stronger.
It all makes sense.
And let's not forget the emotional benefits.
Right.
A well-rested baby is generally a happier baby.
That's true.
They're better able to regulate their emotions,
Mm.
cope with challenges,
Wow.
and engage with the world around them.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Now, how much sleep do they actually need?
Well, newborns
Oh, yeah.
can sleep anywhere from 14 to 17 hours a day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is spread out over many short naps.
Okay.
But as they get older,
Mhm.
their sleep patterns shift. They
Okay.
start sleeping for longer stretches at night
Mm-hmm.
and fewer naps during the day.
So what worked for a newborn might not work for a 6-month-old.
Exactly. Flexibility is key.
Okay, good to know.
And here's a fascinating fact.
Okay.
Babies have much shorter sleep cycles than adults.
Oh, that's interesting. How much shorter are we talking?
A baby's sleep cycle is only around 40 to 50 minutes, compared to an adult's 90 minutes.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, it is. This explains why they seem to wake up so frequently.
Totally.
It's simply the natural rhythm of their sleep.
That's reassuring to know because I think a lot of parents worry when their baby wakes up after a short nap, they haven't slept enough.
Yeah, that's a common concern.
Yeah.
But it's completely normal.
Okay, good.
And as they mature,
Mm-hmm.
those sleep cycles lengthen,
Okay.
allowing for longer stretches of sleep.
I like the sound of that. Now, let's talk about sleep regressions.
Ah, yes. The dreaded sleep regressions.
Every parent I know has a story about them.
I'm sure.
What's actually happening during those times?
Well, they're a normal part of development
Okay.
and often coincide with major developmental leaps.
Okay.
So around 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
your baby might be learning to roll over
Okay.
or grasp objects.
Right.
At 8 months, they might be sitting up or crawling.
Oh, yeah.
And around 10 months, they might be pulling themselves up to stand.
So it's not just random fussiness. It's their brains are actually working hard.
Exactly. All that brain power can disrupt their sleep temporarily.
So it makes sense that their sleep would be a little wonky.
Yeah. Okay. But the good news is
Okay.
these regressions are temporary.
Oh, thank goodness. Because I think a lot of parents feel like they're doing something wrong when their baby suddenly starts waking up more.
It's easy to feel that way,
Yeah.
but it's important to remember it's just a phase.
Okay.
And it will pass with time.
Okay. That's good to know.
Now, one of the most powerful tools for promoting healthy sleep habits
Okay.
is establishing consistent routines.
I've heard that routines are like magic when it comes to baby sleep.
They can be pretty magical.
What makes them so effective?
Well, babies thrive on predictability.
That makes sense.
A consistent routine sends a clear signal to their little brains
Okay.
that it's time to wind down
Mm-hmm.
and prepare for sleep.
Okay.
It creates a sense of security and comfort,
Right.
which makes it easier for them to drift off.
So it's not just about habit formation. It's about creating a calming and predictable environment.
Exactly.
Okay.
A sample bedtime routine could include
Okay.
a warm bath,
Mm-hmm.
getting into pajamas,
Okay.
a calming activity like reading a book or singing a lullaby,
Yeah.
a feeding,
Okay.
and then putting your baby down drowsy but awake.
Drowsy but awake. I've heard that's important. Why is that?
The goal is to help them learn to fall asleep on their own.
Okay.
That way, they're less likely to wake up fully when they transition between sleep cycles.
So they're less reliant on being rocked or fed to sleep
Exactly.
and more likely to put themselves back to sleep if they wake up.
Exactly. Now, let's tackle some common sleep problems.
Yes, please, because I know a lot of parents struggle with this.
I'm sure.
Okay, so first, getting the baby to sleep in the first place.
Right.
What are some of the common reasons why they just won't go to sleep?
Well, one of the most common culprits
No.
is overtiredness.
Really?
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But if you miss your baby's sleep window,
Okay.
they can get a second wind
Okay.
and become too stimulated to settle down.
So it's like they missed the boat and now they're running on adrenaline.
Exactly.
Okay.
Other common causes are hunger,
Okay.
a full diaper,
Makes sense.
or too much stimulation right before bedtime.
Right, like you said, missing that sleep window.
Yeah,
Okay, so the first step is to just make sure that their basic needs are met.
precisely.
Okay.
Also, creating a calm environment is essential.
Okay.
Make sure the room is dark, quiet,
Okay.
and at a comfortable temperature.
That makes sense. And what if they're still resisting sleep even after all of that?
You might need to adjust their wake time before bed.
Oh.
So if they're consistently fighting sleep,
Mhm.
try shortening the amount of time they're awake between naps or before bedtime.
Okay, that makes sense.
Welcome back to our deep dive.
Into baby sleep.
Yes,
We've covered so much already.
we have.
From like sleep cycles to those common problems.
Right.
Now, I think a question on a lot of parents' minds is,
Yeah.
when can I expect my baby to sleep through the night?
Yeah. That's the million-dollar question.
Right. Is there like a magic age?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Okay.
It really depends on the individual baby, their age, their weight,
Okay.
overall health and development.
So no need to compare to other babies
No, definitely not.
or worry if they're not there yet.
Exactly. Every baby develops at their own pace.
That's reassuring.
And it's important to remember that sleeping through the night for a baby
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean 8 hours straight.
That's right.
Even a 5 or 6 hour stretch can
Uh-huh.
be considered sleeping through the night for a young baby.
That makes sense.
It's about gradual progress,
Right.
not overnight miracles.
Now let's talk about sleep training.
Ooh, yes.
A hot topic.
It is.
What's your perspective on sleep training?
Well, sleep training is a personal choice.
Okay.
There are so many different methods out there.
I know it can be overwhelming
It can be
for parents.
Yeah, and what works for one family
Right.
might not work for another.
Exactly.
So it's essential to do your research,
Okay.
choose a method you're comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
and most importantly, be consistent.
So it's not about finding the right method. It's about finding the right method for your family.
Exactly, and your baby.
Hmm.
And it's important to remember that sleep training isn't about forcing your baby to cry it out.
Okay.
There are gentler methods that involve gradual changes and parental presence.
Oh, that's good to know. What are some examples of those gentler methods?
Well, one popular method is the pick-up, put-down technique,
Okay.
where you pick up your baby when they cry,
Mm-hmm.
comfort them,
Okay.
and then put them back down when they're drowsy but still awake.
Okay.
It's a more gradual approach
Okay.
that helps babies learn to fall asleep on their own with parental support.
That sounds a lot less intimidating.
It can be a bit gentler.
Yeah. Okay. What else do?
Another gentler option is the chair method,
Okay.
where you sit in a chair next to your baby's crib
Okay.
and gradually move the chair further away each night
Okay.
over several days or weeks.
So you're slowly like removing yourself.
Exactly. You're gradually decreasing your presence
Okay.
while still providing reassurance and comfort.
That makes sense. It seems like there are a lot of options
There are.
out there for different parenting styles and temperaments.
Exactly. The key is to find what works best for you
Okay.
and your little one.
Okay. Now let's talk about swaddling.
Swaddling.
Yeah. A lot of parents swear by it,
They do.
but I've also heard some concerns about
Yeah.
safety.
Safety is always paramount.
Oh, okay.
So swaddling can be a wonderful tool for soothing newborns and helping them sleep better.
Okay.
It mimics the feeling of being held.
Right. Like in the womb.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Which can be very calming and reassuring for
Right.
those first few months.
But safety is key.
Absolutely. It's crucial to swaddle correctly.
Okay. What does that mean?
Make sure the swaddle isn't too tight
Okay.
and that your baby's hips and legs have room to move.
Okay. So not like a straitjacket.
No, you want to create a snug and secure feeling
Okay.
without restricting their movement.
So when should you stop swaddling?
Once your baby starts showing signs of rolling over,
Okay.
it's time to transition out of the swaddle.
Okay.
You don't want them to roll over while swaddled and get stuck.
That makes sense.
It's all about finding that balance between comfort
Mm-hmm.
and safety.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So what are some additional tips that parents can use?
Well, one of the most important things you can do is to create a consistent bedtime routine.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit earlier,
We did.
but it's worth repeating.
It is a predictable routine.
Okay.
Helps signal to your baby that it's time to wind down and prepare for sleep.
Okay.
It's like setting the stage for a good night's rest.
And it doesn't have to be elaborate.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It can be as simple as a warm bath, getting into pajamas, reading a book,
Right.
and singing a lullaby.
Okay.
The key is consistency.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the same things in the same order every night
Okay.
helps create a sense of predictability and comfort.
Okay, so what about daytime activity? Does that have any impact on sleep?
Absolutely. A tired baby is a sleepy baby.
Makes sense.
So encourage your baby to move and explore during the day so they're ready for sleep when bedtime rolls around.
So playtime is not just about fun.
No.
It's also about setting them up for sleep.
Exactly. Now, what about naps?
Yes, nap.
How can we ensure our babies are getting those all-important naps?
Because sometimes it feels like a battle
It can be.
just to get them down.
Yeah, so just like with bedtime,
Okay.
create a conducive sleep environment for naps.
Okay.
Make sure the room is dark, quiet,
Okay.
and cool.
Okay.
You can also use white noise to block out any distracting sounds.
And try to put them down around the same time each day.
Yes, consistency is key for regulating those natural sleep-wake cycles.
And then what about those babies?
Yeah.
Who just fight sleep
Oh, yes.
every step of the way?
Those little ones
Yeah.
who are resisting.
It's like they've declared war on sleep.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to do it.
Exactly.
What do you do then?
Well, if your baby is consistently resisting sleep,
Okay.
it could be a sign that they're overtired.
Oh, so again, it's like that counterintuitive thing.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
An overtired baby can have a harder time falling asleep
Okay.
because their little bodies are pumped full of stress hormones.
Okay, so we need to watch for those sleep cues.
Yes. Watch for those cues and put them down before they reach that point of overtiredness.
So if they're rubbing their eyes,
Exactly.
yawning, getting fussy.
It's time for sleep.
Okay, and if you're breastfeeding,
Yes.
you're looking for those hunger cues as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes a baby who seems fussy or restless might just be hungry.
Okay.
So offer a feeding and see if that helps them settle down.
Now, what about pacifiers?
Pacifiers.
Are they good or bad for sleep?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
They can be a bit of a double-edged sword.
What do you mean?
Well, they can be great for soothing babies
Okay.
and helping them fall asleep,
Right.
but they can also become a sleep crutch.
What does that mean?
So if your baby relies on a pacifier to fall asleep,
Okay.
they might wake up every time it falls out of their mouth during the night.
So then you're up all night,
You could be.
putting the pacifier back in.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's all about finding that balance
Okay.
between using a pacifier for comfort and helping your baby learn to self-soothe.
And if you do use one, maybe try to wean them off of it.
Exactly, as they get older.
Okay.
Try to wean them off gradually.
Okay, so what about nighttime feedings?
Nighttime feedings.
You know, when can parents expect to drop those?
Well, there's no hard and fast rule.
Okay.
It really depends on the baby,
Okay.
their age, their weight, and how well they're gaining weight. Most babies can start sleeping through the night without a feeding by 6 months.
Yeah.
But some might need night feedings for longer.
So just follow your baby's cues?
Yes, and consult with your pediatrician.
Okay.
If you have any concerns about their growth or feeding patterns.
What if you're not sure if they're waking up because they're hungry?
If you're not sure,
Yeah.
try offering comfort without feeding.
Go.
You can pat their back, sing to them,
Okay.
or just talk to them in a soothing voice.
And if they're really hungry, they'll let you know.
They will.
Okay, now let's talk about separation anxiety. That can be tough,
It can be.
especially for bedtime.
It can make bedtime a real struggle.
It's like they're suddenly attached to you.
Yes, they become little clingy monkeys.
Yes.
Separation anxiety is a normal stage of development
Okay.
that usually peaks between 8 and 12 months.
Okay, so it's normal.
It is.
Okay.
Right? Babies are starting to understand that you can leave and come back.
Yeah.
But they haven't quite grasped the concept of object permanence.
So it's not manipulation.
No.
It's just fear.
It's a genuine fear of being separated
Yes.
from their primary caregiver.
So what can parents do?
Well, creating a consistent and loving bedtime routine is essential.
Okay.
Make sure your baby knows that you're leaving, but that you'll be back.
Okay.
You can also try leaving a familiar object with them.
Okay. Like a lovey or something?
Exactly, like a blanket or a stuffed animal that smells like you.
That makes sense.
It can provide a sense of comfort and security when you're not there.
Now, what about parents who are co-sleeping?
Co-sleeping.
Is it safe?
Well, co-sleeping is a complex issue.
Okay.
There are both risks and benefits to consider,
Okay.
and it's a very personal decision for each family.
So what are the risks?
Well, the biggest risk is suffocation.
Okay.
Babies can suffocate if they get trapped between the mattress and the wall,
Okay.
or if they're covered by bedding or pillows.
So you have to be extra careful?
Yes, it's crucial to create a safe sleep environment if you are co-sleeping.
Like, what does that look like?
Make sure the mattress is firm
Okay.
and that there are no loose blankets or pillows in the bed.
Okay.
And avoid sleeping on a couch or armchair with your baby,
Okay.
as this is a particularly high-risk environment for suffocation.
So what about the benefits?
Well, some parents find that co-sleeping helps their baby sleep better
Okay.
and that it promotes bonding and breastfeeding.
Okay.
It can also make nighttime parenting easier
Okay.
because they don't have to get up and go to a separate room
Makes sense.
to tend to their baby.
Okay, so there are pros and cons
There are two.
to co-sleeping.
It's important to weigh the risks and benefits carefully
Okay.
and to make an informed decision.
Okay.
That's right, for your family,
Mm.
based on your individual circumstances
Okay.
and comfort levels.
Now, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to talk about self-care
Yes.
for parents.
Self-care is so important.
It is, especially when you're sleep deprived.
Absolutely. Sleep deprivation is a real challenge for new parents.
It is.
And it can take a toll
Mhm.
on your physical and mental health.
Yeah, it's like running a marathon
It is.
without any sleep.
And without proper nourishment?
It's not sustainable.
No, it's not.
So what can parents do?
Well, try to get as much sleep as you can,
Okay.
even if it means taking naps during the day when your baby is sleeping.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask for help
Right.
from your partner,
Yeah.
family, or friends.
It takes a village
It does.
to raise a baby.
It takes a village to get enough sleep, too.
Exactly. And remember that you're not alone in this.
No, you're not.
Every parent goes through this.
They do.
It's a normal part of the process.
And this sleep-deprived phase won't last forever.
Oh, that's good to hear.
As your baby grows,
Mm-hmm.
their sleep patterns will mature,
Okay.
and you'll eventually be able to get back to a more normal sleep routine.
Okay, that is reassuring to hear.
So just hang in there.
Okay. Any key takeaways before we move on to the last part?
Yes, when it comes to baby sleep,
Mm-hmm.
remember that there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Okay.
What works for one family might not work for another.
Right.
So be flexible,
Okay.
experiment with different strategies,
Mhm.
and most importantly, trust your instincts.
You know your baby best.
You do.
Huh.
And be kind to yourself.
Yes.
You're doing a great job,
Even on those sleepless nights.
especially on those sleepless nights.
Okay, so we'll be back for the last part of our deep dive,
Yes,
and we'll explore even more tips and techniques
we will.
for those really challenging situations.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive.
Into baby sleep.
Yes, we've covered so much already.
Yeah, we've gone through a lot.
So now I think it's time to kind of get into those like extra challenging
Yeah.
sleep situations
Right, those tricky ones.
that parents might face.
Absolutely. And some advanced tips for how to navigate those.
Okay, so like the secret weapons
Yes, the secret weapon.
for those persistent sleep problems.
Right. Those ones that you're just like, what is going on?
Okay, so let's start with early morning wakings,
Ah, yes, the dreaded early wakings.
like 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
It's like they have a built-in alarm clock
I know.
set for like the worst possible time.
Yes.
So sometimes those early wakings
Okay.
are simply a matter of adjusting their bedtime.
Okay.
So if they're going to bed too early, they might be fully rested and ready to start the day
Okay.
before the sun even rises.
So like pushing bedtime back a little bit could actually help?
It could be worth trying.
Okay.
Another culprit could be light.
Okay.
Even the faintest light creeping into their room
Yeah.
can signal to their brains that it's time to wake up.
So blackout curtains.
Blackout curtains are your friend.
Really helpful
Yes. Darkness is key.
for good sleep.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about those babies who just fight naps.
Oh, yeah. Nap battles.
It's a battle of wills
It is.
that can leave everyone exhausted.
I know parents who spend like all their time trying to get their baby to nap,
I know, it's a common struggle.
and then the nap is over.
Exactly. And you're like, wait, I didn't get anything done.
Okay, so what can you do?
Well, if naps are becoming a major struggle,
Hmm.
it might be time to reassess their overall sleep schedule.
Okay.
They might be getting too much daytime sleep,
Okay.
or their nap times might be too close together.
Okay, so how do you figure out that balance?
We'll start by tracking their sleep patterns for a few days.
Okay.
Jot down when they nap how long they sleep
Yeah.
and how long they're awake between naps.
So just like get a sense of,
Yeah, get a sense of their patterns.
Okay.
And then you might find that shortening their naps
okay.
or spacing them out more evenly throughout the day
Mm-hmm.
leads to better sleep overall.
So it's about finding that, like, sweet spot.
It is. It's about finding that sweet spot where they're getting enough sleep
Okay.
without becoming overtired.
Now, what about those babies who are super clingy
Oh, the clingy babies.
and they need to be, like, held to fall asleep?
They want that contact.
I mean, it's sweet, but it's also exhausting.
It is. It's lovely, but it can be very draining.
So how do you encourage them to self-soothe?
Well, it's important to start teaching them those skills
Okay.
so that they can learn to fall asleep independently.
Okay. But without, like, full-on crying it out.
Right. There are gentle techniques you can try.
Okay, like what?
So start by gradually reducing the amount of physical contact
Okay.
as they fall asleep.
Okay.
So, for example, if you usually rock them to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
try patting their back instead.
So you're still there,
You're still there.
but you're not.
You're not doing the full rocking motion.
Okay.
You can also try singing softly or talking to them in a soothing voice as they drift off.
So just kind of like easing them into it?
Exactly.
You-
The goal is to provide comfort and reassurance,
Okay.
but also encourage them to develop their own self-soothing skills.
Now, this one I know is a big one for breastfeeding moms.
Okay.
Reverse cycling.
Reverse cycling.
What is that?
So reverse cycling is when a baby takes most of their milk at night and then naps frequently during the day.
So their days and nights are flipped.
Exactly.
And that sounds exhausting.
It can be really tough for moms who are already sleep deprived.
So how do you break that cycle?
Well, one strategy is to try to increase daytime feedings.
Okay.
So offer your baby the breast more frequently during the day,
Okay.
even if they don't seem that hungry.
So you're just trying to like fill them up?
Yeah, you're trying to fill them up during the day.
Okay.
So they're less likely to wake up for those frequent feedings at night.
Okay.
You can also try to gradually reduce the amount of time you spend nursing at night.
Okay.
So if you usually nurse for 20 minutes,
Mhm.
try shortening it to 15 minutes,
Okay.
then 10 minutes, and so on.
So like slowly weaning them off.
Exactly.
Okay, now this is another one that I think could be really scary.
Okay.
Nightmares and night terrors.
Ah, yes. Those can be frightening for everyone involved.
They are. So how do you tell the difference?
Well, nightmares usually occur during the second half of the night,
Okay.
and the child can often remember the dream when they wake up.
Okay.
They might be scared or upset,
Yeah.
but they can usually be comforted.
Whereas night terrors are like,
Night terrors typically happen earlier in the night,
okay.
and the child is usually unresponsive to comfort.
Okay.
They might be crying, thrashing, or screaming,
Right.
but they're not truly awake,
Okay.
and they won't remember the episode in the morning.
So it's almost like they're not really there.
Exactly.
Okay. And what do you do?
Well, with night terrors, it's best to just stay calm
Okay.
and make sure the child is safe.
Okay.
They'll usually fall back asleep on their own.
Okay. So don't try to wake them up or anything.
Just let it pass.
Okay. And if nightmares are a recurring problem,
You can try to create a calming bedtime routine
okay.
and avoid exposing your child to scary movies or TV shows before bed. Talking about their fears and anxieties during the day can also be helpful.
Now, this is the big one I think that a lot of parents wonder about.
Okay.
Is it okay to let your baby cry it out?
That is a big question
It is.
and a very controversial one.
What do you think?
Well, some experts believe that it can teach them to self-soothe
Okay.
and fall asleep independently,
Okay.
while others argue that it can be harmful to their emotional development and attachment.
So it's like there's two sides
There are two sides to the coin,
to that.
and the decision is ultimately up to the parents.
Okay.
It's a very personal one.
So do your research.
Absolutely. Do your research, weigh the pros and cons.
Talk to your pediatrician
Yes, and choose an approach that you're comfortable with.
because there's no right or wrong answer.
There isn't.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into baby sleep,
This whole world of baby sleep.
it's a big one.
It is.
What are the most important things for our listeners to remember?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that every baby is different.
Okay.
So what works for one baby might not work for another.
So be flexible.
Yes, be flexible, experiment with different approaches,
Right.
and trust your instincts.
You know your baby best.
You do.
Okay.
Another key takeaway is that consistency is key.
Consistency.
Whether it's sleep routines, feeding schedules, or how you respond to their cries.
Okay.
Consistency creates a sense of predictability
Okay.
and security,
Okay.
which can promote better sleep. And lastly,
Don't forget to take care of yourself.
yes,
You can't pour from an empty cup.
that's so true.
So make sure you're getting enough rest,
Okay.
eating healthy foods,
Mm-hmm.
finding ways to manage your stress,
Okay.
and asking for help when you need it.
It really does take a village.
It does.
Well, this has been so informative.
I'm glad you found it helpful.
I really have, and I know our listeners have too.
I hope so.
So to all you sleep-deprived parents out there, hang in there. You're doing a great job.
You are. And we're here to support you every step of the way.
We are.
Do you have any topic that you would like to have explained?
Yeah, drop it in the comments.